branch manager is an incredibly challenging job. And part of the reason is because you're really doing two jobs at one time. First, you are fully responsible for generating your own business. And at the same time, you are 100% a sales manager helping your team propel their business forward. So one of the things that we need to look at and I want to do today is talk about key performance indicators, KPIs. And those are things that we put in place strategically for our team to understand what a good job looks like and how can we measure a good job. So an example of this is in our world, in the tech world, when I first started in sales, we had a metric in place, a call metric. It was 40 cold calls a day. And this was an organizational metric, 40 cold calls across the entire organization. 40 cold calls in itself is a metric, and it's very definable, and those are both great things in KPIs. But the one problem with that KPI is it's not very good. It doesn't push forward the business. It doesn't give you anything outside of just cold calling. So me and my manager sat down and diagnosed my business and said, okay, it's not just 40 cold calls a day, but those 40 cold calls need to translate into this amount of contacts. This amount of contacts needs to result in this amount of demos. This amount of demos needs to create this amount of opportunities, and within those opportunities, it needs to generate this amount of business. So for each of those trigger points, those 5 trigger points, we had very, very specific actionable metrics for me to hit on a daily, weekly, monthly, and even quarterly perspective for me to drive my business forward. Now, when we talk about a branch manager in the mortgage world, we're looking at very, very different metrics. And a lot of times, branch managers look at the scoreboard metrics, is what I call them. And that is applications taken or loans closed. And they look at the end of the month and say, well, why did we fail this month? And without looking at any of the key performance indicators or the business drivers that actually dictate that. And so if we're looking strategically at our business, we might look at referrals as a place to start. Referrals is a great place for loans to originate, but it begins by creating business partners in the marketplace. And so whether we are creating relationships with realtors, financial advisors, builders, we can create KPIs within each of those levers that help drive our business forward. So if we want to make 5 connections a week with 5 different realtors, what are the key drivers that help us do that? That could be calls, that could be handwritten notes, that could be in-person meetings, that could be referrals. We have all these different levers that then we want to create metrics towards to drive results within those categories. And so right now we are going to take a second and think about our business, think about our driving factors, think about the referral sources that we have, and create metrics around those that help drive results. Good luck.